to The Hard Way, the new reboot edition of The Hard Way. In fact, I am Stephen Diggs, and apparently my seat is not occupied.
Whoa! 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 Yeah!
Alright, I don't know what's going on here.
Woo!
Oh! Jericho's debut, right?
Yeah.
And you are who?
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho apparently is on our show. Also debuting this week is Brodus Clay, I think. I think he's appearing later in the show if we have time.
He's supposed to, yeah, if we have time.
If we have time.
Hey, that's my drink.
Oh, and our co-star
Brodus
Benny
Clay.
the Cat is that maybe that's Brodus Clay.
Brodus
I don't know
Clay
what he
was
looks like.
Drinking my drink.
Yeah, well,
You're too young.
my notes are up there, so this show's on. It's right over there. We're doing good today. We're doing good. We're doing really good.
There's liquor in here.
Yeah, apparently. Eggnog. Leftover Christmas eggnog.
With liquor.
Yeah, that's mine right there.
Yeah,
All right.
Clay will get it.
All right, I guess we'll just pretend like we know what we're talking about.
Woo!
This week we'll have a few segments for you. We'll get into them. And first we're going to talk about the news.
Jericho's debut. Well, do you think it was everything that they hyped it to be? Was it the end?
Sure. Now, should the end of maybe seeing Jericho's debuts be interesting? I mean, I don't know if it wasn't bad. It wasn't necessarily bad, though. I have to hold on to my drink, too.
Brodus Clay.
My drink wasn't really bad.
My drink wasn't really bad. They were quite good.
We must be drinking.
We promised them we'd be shit-faced.
I know. Well, it's after New Year's. This is our New Year's party. No, I mean, it wasn't too bad. You could tell it was supposed to be like he was supposed to be a heel thing, and he's like, "You guys would cheer for me just because I'm back. You don't care about exactly what."
I think he was trying to get it to the point that he'd go over, and then once he was over with the fans, go over that. And he kept trying to get it to the point, but I don't think it was the right crowd. I think what he was trying to do was actually get the fans to the point where he annoyed them, which it worked for me at home, where he annoyed them to the point that they would start booing.
Mm-hmm.
Would have never happened.
I don't think that they were thinking he was going to boo them. Like, I think that they knew that no matter what, he was still going to get cheers, but they're just going to start going, what the hell is going on? Because, like, some people said that they thought he lost his lines, and that's why he put the mic up to his face. And no,
I thought that was great, though, holding the mic and then dropping it.
No, I like that, but I mean, how would someone think that he forgot his lines? Dude, if anyone that's a good actor in wrestling, it's Jericho.
There were also rumors.
And even if he did, he could ad-lib that shit. He's that good.
There was also rumors that it wasn't that he forgot his lines, that he had a certain amount of time to fill, and he kept doing that to try and fill all that time.
I do think that is possible. They told him, we'll give you 10 minutes, or 5 minutes probably, or a little more, and go up there and just create crazy, like, ballyhoo.
But I think what it is that was Jericho saying goodbye to the fans, that, you're no longer going to see the happy, Chris Jericho. Because the whole thing was, it was supposed to be like a reimagining of a character, the way they advertised it. He came out with the same music, did the Jericho pose.
Mm-hmm. That jacket was interesting. The lights that went through.
I read an article where somebody said Double J has the hat to match that. But it was just kind of like, it's like he's trying to go over with the fans just so he can turn into a heel.
Yeah.
And rub it in their face like, haha. But the fact that
you
he
would
came
cheer
back,
for me. Why would you jump back and forth between liking somebody and hating somebody? Yeah.
But I think the fact that he came with the same music and all that is basically, after them doing the whole thing that like it's going to be a rebirth, it's the end, like that basically.
He was pulling one over on the fans, maybe.
Yeah, But I don't think he's going to be Chris Jericho. I think it's going to be completely different.
It's gonna be the Jericho
different-
we saw the last one, the one that's based off.
I don't think it will be.
There Will Be Blood. That's where he got the idea for his.
Wasn't that the movie about Miley Cyrus losing her virginity?
Yeah, I think it was. Actually. I don't want to see that. It's gross.
I do.
I don't think
Anybody has a copy?
Ew, no.
She's old enough now. It's okay.
Still gross. She's not that attractive.
I think she is.
Well, yeah. I mean, the rest of Raw was pretty mediocre. It wasn't necessarily bad. I mean, it just kind of built up for what it was. What do you think of the Kane thing at the end, where Kane apparently Zack Ryder almost fell into hell, and John Cena pulled him out? It was like the end of a Jason movie. Some out of Friday the 13th or something is what it felt like.
Okay, again, and I mentioned this like another time. Raw seemed backwards. Like, the first hour of Raw was really good. The second hour of Raw sucked. If the second hour of Raw would have been the first hour, and vice versa, it would have been a good Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they've been doing that lately, where they do all their good stuff in the first hour, and then just drag out shit in the last hour.
I don't know if I mentioned this before to you, or I mentioned it to somebody.
But not even that. You got to remember, they talked about that they're trying to cut back on the pyro. All right? One, Kane didn't come out. Remember at the beginning?
Exactly.
They did the pyro, they did his entrance. Waste of pyro, no Kane. So then Kane ends up coming out at the end of the match, and they had to shoot that fireball.
Well, that's why they haven't been having pyro in general for anyone else. If you noticed, when was the last person you saw have pyro outside of Kane? He had it last week too. Remember when Cena went to jump in the ring and Kane shot the fire at the entrance?
Yeah.
But when was the last time you saw pyro? That wasn't him. Can you think of anyone off the top of your head?
X-Men 3.
Did they have pyro at the start of the? Did they have pyro at the start of the pay-per-views? They don't have the start of Raw anymore. I don't think, but they have the start of the pay-per-views. I don't think they have the start of Raw anymore. I mean, honestly, does it even matter if they have pyro?
Ballyhoo.
Does it honestly matter to a wrestling fan?
The thing is, though,
it makes it more of a show.
It doesn't really matter to the fans, but you got to think, how do the boys feel? Remember,
they're kind of used to it. I mean, house shows don't have pyro.
Remember in the old days, they would get upset if, like, a guy got first-class seating and they were sitting in coach.
They still do that.
But that's what I'm saying. So now, does it become a thing where it's like, well, he gets fireworks.
Oh, I see.
He gets pyro. He must be doing better in the company than me. I need to, like, push to have pyros for mine.
Kinda.
Because you got to think, back in the day, when Kane first showed up, he was one of the only people to have pyro.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
So, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everybody's got pyro.
And the intro.
It's like I saw a thing, and they had like it was like making fun of wrestling, but there was this girl, and she was like coming in, and she wanted to be a wrestler and stuff, and they were all joking around, and they were like, okay, to be a wrestler, you got to go get a tattoo. And that was like the whole thing is like everybody's got tattoos now.
Oh,
so basically, you know, if you want to be one of the boys, you want to fit in, you know, you got to go get tattoos.
Don't get me started on tattoos.
Brodus Clay getting a big push, his second debut, he's tatted up. So maybe there's a guy in the back, you know,
that
like
sees that he's got to get tattoos
to try and compete.
Well,
with
Orton,
everybody else.
CM Punk. There's both those guys alone got more. Yeah.
Or
Rey Mysterio. How much tattoos have he got since he's been in WWE?
He gets one almost after every injury when he comes back.
He's got more.
So let's see when he returns. Is he going to tat his face?
He's got his mask.
There's not much.
Oh, that way they don't have to wear a mask.
Speaking of the tattoo thing, it's like I was talking to you earlier. I saw a funny picture online that was it was Matt Morgan plus Simon Pegg equals Crimson.
So, in other news, TNA's got a pay-per-view tonight.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wait.
So in other news, how was the rest of Raw?
I thought we covered it.
Well, what'd you think of CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler? The main world title match.
Okay, they've been doing the whole rumor things that you know, they wanted to take the belt off of Punk because of the lame.
That's why they've been pushing Punk stuff to 10 and not to 11. I think that's why you've been seeing that stuff. And Cena Kane at the end.
But the fact that they had Punk come out first,
I like that.
So it looked like Punk was going to lose the belt.
It's champion's prerogative, technically.
Yeah. Well, usually when they come out first, they lose the belt. So he comes out. I was sitting there thinking, okay, Punk's losing the belt. They've been talking about it. This is where it's going to happen. Kept waiting for Jericho to run out there.
That's what I was thinking.
That didn't happen. So and then the match ends in a DQ, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck are the
But it's
writers
an old
thinking?"
school. No, you see, I didn't hate the ending because it was like an old school, like it's a TV pay per view. That way you could still Ziggler's been getting all these fake wins on him anyway, so you keep building to the actual pay per view. He got a win last week too. Remember, he won on count out.
Yeah, but if you're gonna call them fake wins, technically they're all fake wins. Nobody wins like
Well, you know what
wrestling
I mean.
for real,
And like
unless you're Sting.
even
and
the
you have
people
to
that
hold
know
Jeff
wrestling's
Hardy
fake,
down.
the way that he held the title afterwards was all cocky, like yeah, he knew he didn't win the title, but he was doing it to shove it in Punk's face. You know, that stuff's nice, and you know, I mean, he's the freshest character, especially out of nowhere.
He's the fresh maker.
Is he Dolph Mentos Ziggler?
Could be.
All right, well, oh, and
But like you said, the TNA pay-per-view tonight
there's a TNA pay-per-view.
is
Did I
that
say that?
is that still on?
I didn't know it's still on. Is it?
TNA is that still
I
on?
don't know.
Leave a comment. Let us know if that's still on.
Please, direct me to a website or something where they. I don't know.
Superstars?
I heard of this Impact Wrestling. Is that similar to TNA?
Maybe.
I don't know. We're gonna have to look into that. We're high esteemed journalists.
Don't they
here.
do-
We need to get some
Don't they do shows in India?
boots in the ground. Well, actually, that brings us to a news clip that I
Abu
wasn't going to
Dhabi.
talk about. I would say that that's more interesting than TNA is Ring Ka King, which translates to roughly King of the Ring.
It's pronounced Ring Cock King.
Cock Ring.
Cock Ring.
Did you see the footage or the?
Yeah, it fucking looks better than
I know.
Impact.
Not much better, because honestly, it still looks like the
Okay.
Impact Zone redressed to be in India.
TNA news. Let me ask you this. So it was posted that a memo got handed down in TNA to the different wrestlers for them not to directly speak to
Dixie Carter. Yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
I think, okay, it's Bruce Pritchard. Because, is it Bruce Pritchard? I think it's him that's the one that's there.
That
I think
was
it's Bruce.
Brother Love.
Yeah, I think he's the one that's there.
Yeah, because
he's
Tom Pritchard
Tom's
was
still,
Heavenly Bodies.
I think it's Bruce that's still there. That's in TNA now. That's all come from him. Apparently, he wants there to be like this hierarchical chain, almost like WWE, where like you can't directly talk to Vince. A lot of times you have to talk to a writer, and then a lot of times they go from there. Vince, I don't think likes being talked to by, Santino. Now, if he comes up to you and talks to you, that's different.
But we do know.
But I think that there's this chain.
we do
and
know
Pritchard's letting run to
for
his head.
certain guys, they just knock on his door.
Well, yeah. Well, the big. Do you mean to tell me you don't think they let Sting talk to Dixie Carter?
Who?
Sting or
You mean the guy that used to be Sting that's now the Joker?
no? He's not the Joker anymore. Now he's the.
Shows how
General-
long it's been since I've
He's the
watched it.
TNA general manager.
So he's back to just being bland old.
I think he's still Sting. But he's not crazy now. He's not going to show people
Only in wrestling.
what happened to his
Only-
family or
only in
make
wrestling-
pencils disappear.
Only in wrestling can you lose your mind, only to get it back a month later.
Yeah, that's very true. Remember when
Your
Cactus
mom
Jack?
for a month and got it back,
That's true.
kind of, sort of.
We have other people that their first names start with a letter in the first half of the alphabet.
Yeah,
I try not to say his name.
I don't know
but-
if I can be on this show.
So
I'll have to ask my dad.
yeah, so like, well, yeah.
We didn't say last names.
Yeah, but certain people that watch these may know.
They don't watch these.
Brett might watch these.
Nah, he doesn't watch them.
So I guess we're gonna. I
We're
think
lucky anybody watches.
we're gonna go. Let's go into our first segment. We're gonna, this is all new. Our first segment is only in Japan, which is
big in
it's
Japan.
gonna spotlight wrestling stuff that can only happen in Japan. Of course, I mean, appropriately titled.
Big in Japan. Well, something that could only happen in Japan.
Is a match is the biggest event in the year in the Tokyo Dome.
But also,
Tokyo's in Japan.
Astro Boy was there.
Yeah, we gotta explain to the audience what happened for the people that don't go
Okay.
out of their way to watch Pura Racing.
There's this island. It's called Japan.
You may have heard of
didn't-
it.
It didn't get washed away in the tsunami.
No, so every year New Japan has their biggest show. It's pretty much their WrestleMania. Now they've appropriately titled now Wrestle Kingdom, and the logo looks like WrestleMania at that. This is the sixth
All you
Wrestle
need
Kingdom.
is a little 27 underneath. And it's
Yeah, it
pretty
does.
much-
Yeah, I mean they've done the Tokyo Dome shows before. That's every January 4th, which this year fell on a Wednesday. It was me, and the chair apparently squeaks. So every year they have it on the January 4th, no matter which is weird. I think they'd have a
On
little-
the January.
Think about it. They have it. They have it on this year. That means it was on a Wednesday.
It might
That
not
was so
be.
odd.
It
It's
might not
every
be.
Jan 4th.
It might not be like next year because
It always is.
they're talking about revamping the calendar.
No, that was just some college professors. The idea was kind of interesting.
I don't
But-
think it was. It was confusing as hell.
No, actually, every day falls on the same day of the week. Like Christmas would always fall on a Sunday. That's how it was going to be.
One always falls on the 25th anyway.
No,
It's not
but
like
it still fall on the
changes.
20. It still fall on the certain.
But it's
same
a
day
different
every
day.
No, it would be a different day. They redo the calendar so that every day of the
Well, I
it
understand,
changes.
but I'm saying now it's on a different day. Who gives a fuck? Kids are like, yeah, you know, Christmas falls on a Wednesday. We get school like.
no,
Those assholes just want to do it so that they're like, oh, we'll have school.
Let's just get back. Let's get back on the. It has nothing to do with that. But let's get back to the wrestling. So, the biggest show of the year, New Japan really pulls out all the stuff. I mean, imagine if WWE.
You could have
brought
said
in
the biggest show of the year in Japan, but really, now
No,
that as
wait.
bad as like
WrestleMania was this year, or 2011 now. WrestleMania was there.
that wasn't the chair. Don't listen to him. Jesus. I'm just gonna lean over here for a little bit. You're not editing that out either. Whoa. Jesus. I'm gonna go tell your wife.
All right, so let's go right back into like nothing happened. Imagine if WB for WrestleMania had matches.
I was. Damn it.
It's like one of those.
I was
bloopers.
completely fine. I wasn't laughing.
I know. So if WWE had, God damn it. No, so if WWE had like TNA and ROH matches at the WrestleMania, it's kind of what New Japan's Wrestle
Whoa.
Kingdom's like in a lot of ways.
And even different than that because they have CML
No, just
stuff.
yeah, CMLL,
So
All Japan.
they have American wrestlers. Well, yeah, it's if with that it's cross promotion. It would be like
It never used to be like that until more recently.
which is awesome because think about
Yeah.
it. Like back in the day, WrestleMania would have been like
Had
okay,
a good WCW match.
we're gonna have WCW
Mhm.
come in and do some matches with us. People would have loved that.
No, exactly.
But outside of that, they also have like there's American wrestlers, there's Mexican wrestlers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it has people from all over the place.
Prince Devitt's from South Africa, actually. So
That might explain why. But they have people from all over the place that come in, and it's not just. And it's funny because like when you watch it, you know it's in Japanese, but then there's like fairly a little bit of like English.
well,
was
also
it?
Moo's names are in English too.
What was it that the guy on the back of his trunk? It said "damned." What was it? It was damned something on
I
his
can't
trunks,
remember.
but it didn't make any sense. And then there was another guy when he came out. One of the guys with him had like this shirt that said like faith.
Mm-hmm.
Said like faith, the faith. And it kept going through, and
Yeah.
it didn't. Even the writing on the back didn't make any
The
sense.
guy that teamed with Masato Tanaka, his side, what did it say, Tokyo Pimps?
Yeah.
Tokyo Pimps. So,
Even the writing, like English stuff,
Yeah.
like
well,
a lot of times
we'll go-
lost in
we'll
translation.
start, match 0, which we can't find. We assume it was a house show that was only shown locally in the
Dark match.
Yeah, like a dark match. It was Tomoaki Honma and Kyosuke Mikami versus Captain NJ and Tamatongo. The winners are Tonga and
That's-
Tonga with Tamatongo. It's Captain NJ.
Yeah, it's Captain Ninja Jesus.
Oh, Ninja. Oh man, I've always wanted to see him wrestle.
Which I came up with-
Jesus and
I
Tonga.
came up with if I ever wrestled in Japan. You know how everybody has like the little tag things, like you have your name, and then like the little like thing. I'd be the rock and roll ninja.
It's pretty good. First match of the card was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Match.
That's where they have
Where it
little
was
kids come
tag
in.
title match, and it was Davey Richards and Rocky Rare versus Prince Devitt and Ryusuke Taguchi.
Known as Apollo 55.
Yes.
They came out in spacesuits.
Spacesuits.
With black penises. No, they came out.
They had these little black like flaps that went around their crotch area, and was it what it was? Was it Devitt's or was it Taguchi's? It was hanging down.
It was Devitt's
like a
hung
penis.
down.
The way it was odd. It looked like it looked like the
A
space
space penis? It looked like a space
Well, it
penis.
looked from the.
It looked like Data's dick.
Yeah. Well, Devitt and Taguchi won the match, which they won the championship.
Well, now they don't have to watch it. You're supposed to say spoiler alert.
No, screw that. The matches are over. Like to not tell me what happened to WrestleMania.
What happened to WrestleMania?
Nothing happened. It was bad.
Then we don't have to tell them.
You mentioned CMLL. They were in the next match, and it was
CMLL.
Jushin Liger and Tiger Mask 4, or Cuatro in Spanish. Masquerita de Grada and Kushida, all caps, can't be lowercase, all caps, versus Atlantis, the mythical city return. I'm glad to see it return for the Tokyo Dome match. Valiente, Taka Michinoku, who doesn't look like he's changed since Kai and Tai in WWE, and Tai Chi. I'm glad to see that the art form of Tai Chi is now a wrestler.
Isn't that what killed David Carradine?
Liger won the match with the vertical drop brainbuster
Liger.
with his fake hair that he has now.
Yeah, like the look. I could live with the hair, even though
I don't know if I can.
Even though it doesn't look like it's supposed to be hair, it looks like it's fur.
It does. It looks like some kind of like.
Because did you notice that
I just don't like it.
when they tried to take the mask off, that it splits on that seam?
Yeah. I don't like it. I'd rather have it than not have any hair.
I could live with the hair. The all silver outfit.
Oh, see, I don't mind those.
I didn't like that. It looked so weird.
I think if they just redesigned the back of that mask so you could have more of a design and just covered up his head, I want to know if he's bald. Do you think he shaved his head? Like Keiji Muto. Does he look like that?
I think he.
Or just cut it short?
From what I know, he cut his hair.
He's going bald.
Well, yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Next
Not all this
match,
can be Donald Trump.
which works out for it, kind of ties into the main event, but we'll get into it in order. It was Kazuchika Okada versus Yoshi-Hashi, all like Yoshi-Hashi, all caps, and
That means he's important.
Okada won. It was like the return match. It was called the New Japan Respiration. Every match had a tagline.
They brought out a respirator.
That's how you had to win. You had to put them on the respirator on them.
They needed.
You had to knock them out so much they needed a respirator. And then we got Yuji Nagata, old WCW guy, and Wataru Inoue versus Masakatsu Funaki and Masayuki Kono. My notes are terrible. And Kono and Funaki. One, wow. Sorry, this is very professional.
Not the WWE Funaki.
No. This is, Funaki's the last name in Japan. Then, a match that people at home may have some interest in, MVP and Shelton Benjamin.
Which were called?
Oh. No, that was part of the match. It was called the Super Monster War.
They also called the team, like...
They did call the team something.
Super American, like...
It was, MVP and...
But they had the Godzilla, like, roar.
MVP and Shelton Benjamin versus Masato Tanaka and Yujiro Takahashi. Takahashi. And, yeah, it's interesting. MVP, this is his was it like his surprise partner? Remember he talked about having a surprise partner? Someone from his past? What the
got
hell?
attacked by the two of them.
Yeah.
Because he had the match for the Intercontinental title.
Right, because him and Tanaka have been battling for the Intercontinental title,
when,
the IWGP Intercontinental,
Kojima,
like the New Japan Intercontinental title.
Kojima interfered, attacked him. He made a phone call saying that, and he was speaking in English, so they assumed it was somebody from America, and said that he was calling somebody from his past, bringing him in.
Is it just because they were in the WWE together? I don't think they feuded or were a tag team. I mean...
I think it's just because...
Oh, is it because they're black?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's what it was. MVP, whose look... The only thing about his looks that's changed, he still has the jumpsuit and the gloves.
Yeah.
He cut his hair. He doesn't have the cornrows anymore. And he wears a trench coat now, which is awesome looking.
MVP apparently always wanted to work in Japan. Even apparently he when he watched
That's-
wrestling, a lot, he used to watch the tape trading stuff like the New Japan, All Japan matches.
Just like me. Like, a lot of wrestlers, you talk to them, they're like, what's your dream? And it's to, make it to WWE, win the title,
Just go to
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. A lot of people.
For me, Japan.
that's what I want to do if I was going to be a wrestler. But yeah, MVP and Shelton Benjamin won the match. I mean, MVP, they must love him in New Japan. I mean, they promote the hell out of him.
But their theme song, when they first came out, had the Godzilla roar.
yeah,
It was
well,
awesome.
Steam Super Monster War
Yeah.
sounds like a
I thought
really
at
good-
first, though, like, because you heard the roar, and then it had that, like, tick-tick thing, I thought it was like, is he still using the WWE
Oh yeah, the theme, yeah. Then we get the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles, which I always thought they were just called the IWGP Tag
Which-
Championships. They're now called the Heavyweight Tag, I guess.
You know,
because
they
the
also-
Junior Heavyweight Tag titles.
Yeah.
And
Which
it was
don't look any different than the other tag belts. The
they're
tag belts
bigger,
look
aren't they?
slightly, but the design's exactly the same.
It was Giant Bernard, who was Prince Albert.
Which they're also the Noah champions. That was the other belt they had.
Oh, okay. And Carl Anderson. And they versed Hiroyoshi Tenzan. Tenzan, famous crazy guy with the weird mullet. And Satoshi
Well, the
Kojima.
flat top with the white,
Flat top
the
into a
blonde.
streaks on the sides, and it goes into a mullet.
Imagine the
I don't know.
LOD if you took both their mohawks. Because the idea I was watching the DVD is that he wanted to do it so that it looked like they could plug into each other. But imagine he has what would be like the mohawk down the middle and the side pieces, and then what would be the hawk is where it's dyed blonde
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's kind of
with a
true.
mullet.
Yeah, so like, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, Kojima and Tenzan won, which they call the team Ten Koji. All one word, capital T.
Well, I like that.
Ten Koji.
I like that Giant Bernard.
Mhm.
That their team's Bad Intention.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's awesome name.
They're
And their entrance,
he's got a big he's a big name in Japan.
the Carl Anderson guy comes out with a machine gun and shoots up the sign. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Giant Bernard. He's a lot better than he was in WWE, but I think it's
Well, we
because
should say he was Albert. I don't know.
yeah, as I said that Prince Albert or Albert. Yeah, like I think it's just that some guys can only work certain styles, but they have to find that style. They may not know what style to get into. Then like out of nowhere, he got released from WWE and he goes to Japan, and all of a sudden it worked. Like something clicked.
Well-
MVP is kind of the same way. I mean, he was big in WWE, but in Japan, that's where he's
You
doing
got to
really
think.
well.
You got to think to a certain degree. If you're a stiff wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to Japan,
If you like
it's gonna
certain
work.
kinds of moves, if you like
Yeah.
different kinds of things like that, 'cause certain
If you're
he doesn't
really
like certain kinds
if
of
you're a really
movesets.
ground-based guy, not really a high flyer, there's places for you in Japan.
Or
Everybody thinks it's all the high flying, but there's a lot of
There's a lot of
I mean, look at Masawa. I mean, that guy probably never jumped off the top rope in his entire
he
career.
did. He was Tiger Mask too.
Oh, that's right. Well, I said as Masawa.
He did a little bit. He did a back elbow, I believe, off top rope. He jumped like he wouldn't even turn around. He'd just get up on the rope and jump. That's where that elbow came from on like the N64 WWE games. Remember, he all of a sudden the guy just climbed the rope and just jumped and like elbow for like no reason. What the hell's going on? It's such a kick because if you didn't watch those matches, you're like, what the hell's this about? Next match was Hirooki Goto and Takashi Sugiura. I mean,
I found
okay.
it somewhat boring.
Yeah, and then Toki Makabe and Yoshihiro Takayama. I like Takayama, ex-martial MMA guy. He's got a look for him. He's got a good look, I think. He's a big dude, too. I mean...
Is that the one that looks like Jackie Chan?
Yeah, but really big. Like, he had blonde hair for the
No,
first
that's
time.
not the guy.
Well, he had
There
blonde,
was a
big,
guy-
tall guy, blonde hair.
There was a guy in one of the tag matches that was wearing the kickboxing trunks.
Oh,
And
I
he looked
don't...
like Jackie Chan.
And then we get to the...
It was the match where the guy turned on his partner at the end,
Oh,
kicked the guy in the face, and they were trying to hold him back.
which one was that? I think that was that the Nagata match? Was that the Yuji Nagata match?
It could have been.
Yeah, it might have been that one.
But the dude in the kickboxing trunks
Yeah.
looked like Jackie.
So,
Don't put your...
and the next match was the penultimate match. It was Shinsuke Nakamura and Toru Yano against Go Shiozaki and Naomichi Marufuji. Big Noah guys for the most part, Pro Wrestling Noah. Marufuji's wrestled a lot here, and mostly for Ring of Honor. Especially a couple years back, had a lot of matches with like Kenta
Well, a lot of those guys, like Rocky
Well,
Romero, Prince
Go
David.
Shiozaki, to me, looks like a younger version of Kenta Kobashi. He won the match with what I think is called the Go Flasher. What's his name of his finisher? He's a big dude. Like, he looks a lot like Kenta Kobashi. I'm sure they're trying to make him be kind of the next Kenta Kobashi.
He needs to get those chops down.
Shinsuke Nakamura is pretty decent. I mean, that's kind of why they put that near the end of the card. Unlike WWE style pay-per-views, Japan doesn't put theirs where they have a hot match and then they try to put a woman's match in it so that the crowd doesn't get overworked. They do the opposite.
Which I don't think Wrestle Kingdom's ever had a women's match.
China wrestled.
Well, yeah, but that was a mix.
It was
That
a mix.
wasn't just a woman versus
I
woman.
I'd have to go back and look through the match listings. But the start, you have your juniors, which are always hot start matches. And then, to me, the middle of the card wasn't that great. I mean, like Okada and Yoshihashi, and then even like the Goto and Sugiura. And then the final match, the main event. Oh, no, it was two more. Shit, that's not the penultimate.
Tried to skip my favorite match?
No, yeah, Tetsuya Naito versus Keiji Muto, who worked his ass off.
It was my favorite
say.
match. The guy, man, he's got to be like...
And Muto won.
Yeah, he's
Muto
got
won
to
the
be
match.
up there. I mean, he's got to be like in his 50s now.
Early 50s,
And he retired the Muta character because of his knees. You could tell in the match that he has bad knees. He had a hard time. He limped to the ring.
Yeah, he can't walk very well.
He had a hard time, like, after he'd do a move, he just kind of lay there, but he played it off. But you could tell that, like, he was, like, taking his time getting up. But, all that said, he did, like, 20 Shining Wizards back-to-back in the match. And ended with
in
a
the
moonsault.
corner, from the back, from the front. I mean, he was doing them all over.
He did a dragon screw leg whip over the railing onto the table. But
Naito worked his butt off too.
He finished the match with a moonsault,
which he really ever does anymore at all
because of his
kills
knees.
his knees.
Yeah, and he's pretty much the guy. If you look it up, he was the guy that made that famous, the moonsault.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a really good match, and then the final match.
The equivalent though of him doing the moonsault is the equivalent of, like, if you're a Radiohead fan and you go see Radiohead live and they play Creep, because they just never do it. To have that happen, you're like, oh my god, this is awesome, which that did happen to me once. But to see Muto pull out the lion salt is just amazing.
Then we get the IWGP.
Moonsault.
The moonsault.
I said
The
lion
Muto salt. We get the IWGP title match. Surprise as your main event. It was Minoru Suzuki challenging champion Hiroshi Tanahashi. Man, we've mentioned a few times on this show. Who was nominated in our Wrestler of the Year awards, the Posties, as
Probably
we dubbed them on
the
show.
greatest air guitar player of all time.
Better than Hogan.
He even
Better
does,
than Jericho. Is
he even does the whole thing. Did you notice where he'll be like, he puts the imaginary air guitar on, and then he'll be
You
like,
should know those international air guitar championships they have.
oh dude, it's great. And he uses the belt like,
Yeah. He won the match. It was a good match.
he did another
Tanahashi-
one of those standing, frog splash.
Oh, yeah.
Only this time it was to the outside.
I think he won the match on a frog splash, right? The top rope frog splash.
Yeah, because he had to do all the moves.
Yeah, which his looks like Eddie Guerrero's, the way he does it. Because there's different ways to do frog splash. There's like so many. But he does it like Eddie Guerrero. He won the match. It's kind of interesting to see a guy win a match with something that's kind of considered a little old school now in a lot of ways. Like,
The hell?
I don't know. So, anyways, like a lot of matches, like a lot of guys now, their finishers are like weird looking, or he doesn't know, just a normal frog splash. He won last year's
The same way.
Wrestle Kingdom match on frog splash.
Well, my roommate and I, he looked up a bunch of Japanese wrestlers because I'm into Japanese wrestling. He was more of an American wrestling guy, and he's slowly getting in. And he looked it up, and a lot of the guys have like these really creative, awesome signature moves, but their finisher is just a clothesline or like a power slam. Like what would be considered an average move here is what a lot of them use
I
as
guess it has to
finishers.
go back with Japan and how they think of wrestling as more of a sport. So
'Cause how
you
many-
end with a move that's like
How many of those matches ended with a clothesline? Where the guy clotheslined the guy, pinned him, and won?
I mean, Liger went with his brainbuster. That's
One of the guys though had a really awesome move. I don't know what it's called. When he put the guy, like he got him up like in a suplex, put him on his shoulders, and then tucked his head underneath his arm and dropped the guy's head onto where he did that.
On
Like
his
once
knee?
he had the guy, he went like this to like move the guy down to position.
Yeah.
And he dropped him on his knee. That move was awesome. And that wasn't even the guy's finisher, because then he got up and clotheslined him and pinned him.
Well, overall, well, if you were to say,
Well, we should talk about the ending.
oh yeah, the ending, Okada came out
Yes.
and
Challenged.
challenged after Tanahashi had his speech and stuff. They
Which was
always do
almost
that.
a 30-minute match, and not
Yeah.
a 30-minute match that's boring. You're like, God,
No, it was a lot of work. The crowd
30
gets
minutes
into
where
it,
you're just sitting there on the edge of your seat, like, oh my God, like,
and the
how's
crowd
this
gets
gonna
really
end?
into it, which is impressive because
They're
being a Japanese
normally-
crowd. But the
This is
Japanese
our-
crowds aren't as quiet as everyone says they are. But they're still
Oh
quiet.
yeah, no, it's more. It's not a quiet. It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
Where most of the match, they're
Yeah. But also, the Tokyo Dome is a huge arena, and they say, and all the wrestlers, when they talk about wrestling in any of these big stadium things, the crowd, it's harder to hear them. So if you can get
Yeah.
the crowd to be heard in those big places,
You
that's
got
a
a
lot.
huge
It's
pop.
a lot. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a lot more impressive.
like the ending when Tanahashi was doing his rock concert. Probably was a louder pop than anyone got at WrestleMania, just because you got to think the size of the building. Like that was probably the biggest pop to happen at a wrestling show. Like
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the show was good. It was definitely really. I mean, match quality wise, it's not ever bad. It's just it's better. Some
Well-
shows are better than others.
also,
They're not.
we talked
I've
about
never
the-
watched a big New Japan or an All Japan or a Noah show. Even FMW, like the old FMW stuff. We go back and watch like the old like FMW tapes.
those were all best of. I mean, it wasn't like they were
That's
one
true.
show.
Well, but still at the same time, like they weren't bad. I never came out of one of those.
That's why-
like I'd watch a Raw and be like, that was horrendous.
That's what made ECW popular in the old days. Was they put out the videotapes, and it
Mhm.
wasn't an episode of the show. It was best of, where they didn't call them those, but they would
I
take
have
the
one of
best.
the old Pioneer ones, Hardcore Revolution. I think.
But when
is
you
what it's
watch
called.
them, they're from different shows.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not
Oh, yeah.
like one show that they recorded.
they put the best stuff on.
and
there.
you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because you think at the time it's one show. And you're like, if they did all this in one show, that's fucking
I gotta
amazing.
go. Yeah.
But no, it's best of stuff.
Yeah, even though TNN shows like that, they skip around to different show arenas sometimes. If you notice that, but
Well, WWE used to do it back in the day.
yeah, I guess we better move on. We've probably been on this one a while. We don't have any clock
This is
and our
as
new
long as-
and our new stage, our new set,
This is as long as a Tanahashi match.
And it's gonna get there. It's gonna be like 2 of them, or like ROH's longest match. They set recently an hour and 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, but the record is those.
Oh, the
4
record's
guys.
8, but that doesn't count. That doesn't matter.
It was
That's
longer than that.
Oh, might have been a
4
day now.
guys.
Might have been a day now.
Yeah.
It was real long. It's stupid. No, the longest ROH one's like what, an hour 20. They just said it recently. It's like an 8-man elimination match. But let's move on to thinking outside the box.
Oh, thinking
We're
outside.
gonna think outside the
China's
box. This is our new segment where we dedicate basically being bookers coming up with ideas that no other wrestling promoter has ever thought of, or a twist on something that's never been thought of. A match, a character, a gimmick, a storyline, a pay-per-view, anything. We both got ideas, and I mean, people can steal these. That's kind of the idea in a lot of ways. We want to see these happen.
Yeah, it's not people can steal these. Please,
Yeah,
steal
yeah,
these.
we want to see this stuff.
Especially when we're talking about who the story revolves around, we want to see you steal it and put it with those people.
Yeah, so I'll let you go with yours first.
Mine is TNA goes out of business.
How to get TNA out of business. They're doing it pretty well themselves.
I see that eventually becoming WCW, where they announce bankruptcy and all of a sudden you turn on
Shane McMahon comes out.
and there's Vince out there. And, oh, Marvin!
Go to your.
But speaking of Vince, my storyline revolves around Vince. Basically, it's something that WCW something that WWE struggled with is how to retire the Undertaker character and have him keep his streak. So that's what my storyline is. My storyline, basically, Vince, obviously not this year, but, you know, at the beginning, like the first Raw of the year, he comes out and he talks about he's going to retire his Vince McMahon character.
You never said exactly what it was about. ending Undertaker's streak. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I must have zoned out. Must be the eggnog.
Must be the farts. So Vince comes out and he basically says the difference between like Vince McMahon, the real person, and Mr. McMahon, the character. How like Vince, created WrestleMania for the fans and has done all this stuff, and like Vince McMahon or Mr. McMahon, the character, makes wrestlers kiss his ass and screwed over Bret Hart, stuff like that. Basically says, he created WrestleMania. He's wrestled at WrestleMania. He's had the world title, but the one thing he wants to do before he retires is headline WrestleMania. So he decides he's going to enter himself into the Royal Rumble and lets it kind of be known to the wrestlers that if anybody eliminates him, they'll be indefinitely suspended. That way, he ensures that he's going to win and he's going to the main event at WrestleMania. So guys come in and they try not to bump him, they try not to touch him at all so that they don't accidentally get suspended. Finally, Taker comes in. Taker's like, I don't give a fuck, and just throws Vince out. So then Taker wins it. The next night on Raw, he's in the ring, going to announce which champion is he going after, the SmackDown, the Raw. And Vince's music hits, and Vince is like, it doesn't matter which one because he's suspended indefinitely. Which leads into Taker, like back in the, we talked about the ministry days, him like messing with McMahon, doing all these things. To the point that right before, the month before WrestleMania, he does something so bad that McMahon has no choice but to bring him back. And he brings him back with the stipulation that the main event for WrestleMania, since Vince still wants to be in the main event, is that him and Taker. And the stipulation is if McMahon wins, then Undertaker loses the streak. Undertaker would ask, well, what happens if I win? And McMahon basically tells him, you lose your job. So it's a thing where he has to decide which is more important to him, his career or the streak, where ultimately at WrestleMania, the decision the Undertaker makes is that it's his streak. Beats Vince, and that's his way to retire without having to say goodbye to the fans, without losing the streak. So that's my thinking outside the box.
So, no, I pretty much agree. I don't think he should lose the streak, so you might as well have him go out in a certain way. The other way is, I was thinking about this. Remember Triple H a couple weeks ago said that, I don't want to go too long on this subject since we got mine to talk about, that Triple H said about he killed the streak.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping a guy from getting as close as he can to winning the match, but losing. But I'm talking taking him to the most ridiculous edge it's ever seen in any of the WrestleMania match, which is hard because probably the second or the first, I forget which one. I have to go back and rewatch them with the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker matches. I don't know if that can ever be beat for an Undertaker match, but
I don't know if that can ever be beat for a Shawn Michaels match.
That's true. You take him to that far. And we already saw Undertaker look like he damn near died. Like, that's how they played off, too, that so he doesn't have to come back. Why don't they do that?
Triple H.
That would be a young guy. He takes him as long as he can, but he doesn't win. He takes him but I'm talking, he takes him to the goddamn edge of, wrestling's, sanity point. To where, he can't do anything, and then he loses. And he loses legitly. Because there's a thing in wrestling that you can get a good rub from a guy, but lose. You don't have to win. You don't have to lose. You can lose cleanly. You don't have to lose by a guy.
You can still lose and go over with the fans.
Exactly.
That's happened enough times.
That's how I think it should
it's
end.
funny that you bring that up because supposedly the rumor is that Undertaker and Triple H
again
3.
Well, 2 in their thinking.
No, 3 because he's already lost.
I know,
twice.
but they're pretending that the first one never happened. They don't talk about
until
it.
the fans are holding the tombstones. They have
I know they don't.
Anyway, then 2.
I know. It's just a joke.
It'd be the same stipulation as it was with Shawn.
Retirement
because Triple H apparently has been having problems with his knees, and this is the way he wants to retire.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna think outside the box here for a second. This isn't really.
It'd be cooler. We need a prompt. We should just have a box.
We'll get one. Someone wants to send us a box, please.
An empty box.
What's in the box? So
that horrible acting. That's what's in the box.
No, mine isn't really for Vince. Is WWE? This isn't like a WWE.
Well, yeah, we weren't trying.
No,
It has to be.
I know. I'm just thinking like I know some fans out there might be like, well, we would never do this, blah 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 blah. No, mine.
That's
is,
why we're doing it. Because
Yeah.
they'll never.
No,
do it.
mine would be a super heavyweight tournament. I want
The most boring match.
the 8. No, it does not have to be. You get the 8 biggest, not fattest. We're talking guys that like you make a weight limit like 300
Like Bob
pounds or
Sapp?
275 pounds. Well, if you found the more athletic one, and maybe the Bob Sapp from like 8 years ago, where at least he has a bigger name. You get the biggest guys you can get. It's an 8-man 1-night tournament. But like a couple years ago, when a lot of people were really into the indie,
That is your dream, isn't it? 8 men, 1 night.
when people got into the tournaments, like a lot of the indie wrestlers and a lot of the X Division style guys, there was a lot of tournaments, times like the ECWA, Super 8, and then like the Super J Cup years ago, and then there were countless other like the Ted Petty Invitational tournament.
So are we talking a tournament as in like 2 guys face each other, that guy goes on to face? Okay, so it's
like-
not
like
all
King of the
8
Ring
guys
style.
all in the ring.
No,
at one time, like-
just one-on-one, normal
elimination
8-man,
pins.
8-man, yeah, an 8-man tournament, like the one-night King of the Rings that when they used to do it one night only.
Yeah.
Just
Before
you get the biggest guys that can wrestle. So Albert, whatever's his name, God, his name, Giant Bernard. He would be a guy. Like that would be a good one to pick. It depending on how you want to go with the weight limit. So you could go with like someone like Go Shiozaki. You could go with Kenta Kobashi.
You could throw Lesnar in there, he's not the one who...
Theoretically, yes. I mean, well,
Goldberg would be the same.
Well, they're going to put
Goldberg
this in
in.
Japan. I mean, then I could see Lesnar going there. Lesnar never worked in indie here, but he'd work in Japan for New Japan or somewhere.
I'd only see
and they
this-
love tournaments.
I'd
in
only
Japan.
see this idea really working in Japan or on one of the indie circuits.
That's what I said. It would never be a WWE or even a TNA thing. This would just be because there are big men that can work, and it'd be no different than when people go to watch like the super heavyweight. There is super heavyweight divisions in some MMA leagues, so there is people that are in. I think it's kind of interesting to watch these dudes that are like that you would never see in real life. Like you'll never see a person in your life to be that big. And they just beat the shit out of each other. And we're not talking these are going to be technical dream matches.
Yeah, we're
These
not talking
guys
about great Khali in
There's
there.
these strong style tournaments in here in America where like dudes are just beating the hell out of each other. Like Necro Butcher, who's famous for headbutting and punching people in the face. But what a better thing like that. But
Which we hung out with him on New Year's.
The guy does look like Necro Butcher. But no, like that's what I want to see. We got 1,000 other ideas. We shoot the shit all the time.
We should literally... That's what we could do. From now on, we'll write down the ideas. We'll throw them in a box, and we'll just randomly reach into the
Probably
box
should.
and pull them out.
Well, in our
That's
box.
thinking
In our
outside
box.
the box. Now they're outside the box.
All right. Well, good idea of thinking outside the box right there. I guess this
Taco
is
Bell.
going to lead us into the top 5. I think you just flashed from 20 to top 20. All right.
I'll just flash it
All
all
right.
day.
All
Just
right.
keep going.
What's your number 5? Numero 5.
Well, before I give mine, let's see if you can try and guess.
The order, number 5. What am I guessing?
Well, the guys, you probably know who's on my list.
I'm saying
The orders, I don't think you know, because I think
No.
you're going to be surprised by the orders.
no.
So who would you normally think would have been my number 5 for the week?
Well, normally right now I don't
Keeping in
know.
mind everything
It's so low.
that's happened.
I don't know. I can't even tell you.
Well,
It's probably not even a WB guy.
yeah, actually it is.
Is it really?
It's the
Zack
one
Ryder?
of 2.
Is it Zack Ryder?
He didn't even make the list.
He's on mine.
no,
Ziggler?
my number 5 is probably who you would have
John
thought would have been
Cena?
my number. Oh my god!
Number 1,
I
CM
will,
Punk?
I will quit this fucking show. You hear me right now? If John Cena ever ends up on my top 5, I will quit this fucking show.
He might be on my top 5.
Yeah, he might.
What about, is it Punk?
He'll be all 5.
CM Punk?
No, it's Jericho.
Oh, see, I didn't put him on my list.
See, I thought you would have thought Jericho would have been number 1 because
No,
he made
no.
his debut.
No, just because he got me a
If-
debut, because you didn't give a shit that it didn't matter.
If Jericho would have actually explained why he was there,
Well, but that was kind of the point, but at the same time, like,
I know.
wait
but
for the payoff to give him number 1.
Exactly. Right now he's number 5 just because he came back. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. he came back. It was good to see him. It was, kind of different, but nothing really happened. So, number 5.
And my number 5 is
Oh, I don't know.
Satoshi Kojima. From, it's interesting. Like to me, like you don't have to be in the main event to be like one of the stars of a show.
Yeah.
And Kojima's
Daniel Bryan.
yeah, well that's true.
Yeah.
So like Kojima is really good. I just, he won the tag title, the IWGP Heavyweight
Well, he also took
tag
on
titles.
Tanahashi for the belt last year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a really good guy. I mean, so it's pretty self-explanatory.
He's a really good guy. We hang out with him all the time.
Yeah, I drink beers with him all the time.
Sake.
And we will move on to number 4.
My number 4, Jushin Thunder
Liger. Liger's not what he used to be.
He's not, but
He's really not.
You know-
he's not terrible. I mean,
he's still. You're talking about a pay-per-view that happened that has 3 of my favorite Japanese wrestlers on it.
yeah.
There's only 1 Japanese wrestler, well, 2 Japanese wrestlers they're missing to have all my favorite Japanese wrestlers. But I don't think they're going to get Sugi-san because he's pretty much retired. And Hayabusa can't do it because he's retired from injury, so
I don't think he's gonna wrestle.
they pretty
anytime
much got everybody in one shot.
Now we'll stick with Japan again because I'll tell you now they're all from Japan. I really care for Raw.
Well, they might not all be from Japan.
Well, no, because this guy isn't from Japan. My number 4, it's MVP.
Oh,
So, he
a
reinvented
guy
himself.
that used to be on your list that is back on your list. He reinvented himself, but he still didn't reinvent his crappy wrestling style.
He wrestles fine for Japan.
Oh.
Wrestles fine.
He wrestles fine for CPW.
It's a local wrestling league out of Kaiser, West Virginia, that probably only 5 people would ever know about. Not on the
Because they
video.
don't advertise anymore.
No, they don't. We talk about they hardly ever advertise. Putting a sign out was a sandwich board that says pro wrestling, and the ling, like the wrestling part, started to get smaller because it ran out of space. Doesn't count as fucking promoting. They didn't even update their freaking MySpace page back in the day. Whatever. Fuck that place.
If you guys are watching,
We'll film you, but fuck you guys.
send us something.
Yeah, tell us you exist. The
Yeah.
CBW arena got
No.
knocked down. That's
Yeah.
what we call this. It's an old fire hall.
They, Shane Shadows will send us tickets just so he can get me there.
Yeah, really. What's your number 3?
I don't know. What is my number 3? My number 3, this is going to be a complete shock. Want to take a guess?
No.
Because
Kane.
you probably also would have
You
thought
said
it
it's
would
only
have been like
one more
number
number
2
you
or
got.
number 1. CM Punk.
Oh, that's your dad. Okay, we've gone there. All right. Cause get a match.
Well, he did keep his belt, sort of.
Well, he
Like,
did keep the belt.
I still enjoy Punk as like a great wrestler, but
Matthew from Botchamania though said it
said it
pretty
perfect
good.
that he's become Stan Marsh. Everything is shit,
Yeah, from the South Park episode.
and that basically like he says, the guy I'm wrestling tonight's shit.
Mhm.
The show I'm on shit. The announcers are shit. John Laurinaitis is shit.
And it makes everybody look bad.
And then he
as a
doesn't.
result.
Yeah, like I'm not saying Punk himself doesn't make the guys look good. It's the writers.
You got to think a little. I mean, Punk does well. He works well with guys, but I think I'd say most of it is the writing though.
I think his best matches, like the guys, maybe not best.
He
matches,
worked really well with
the
Cena.
guys that he works well. I don't know. If anybody can make Cena look good, it's CM Punk, but that's a really hard thing to do.
You're such a stereotypical anti-Cena, Mark.
No, I don't think the guy can wrestle to save his life. Yes, he's good on the mic. Yes, he has a theme song that talks about fishing and Colgate. Awesome, by the way.
Does
No.
it?
Yeah. Listen to the lyrics.
Oh,
Like
let's-
they're terrible, man. But no, the guy's horrible. He's got 5 fucking moves.
He's got more than that.
No, he doesn't. It's the 5 moves of doom. He does the shoulder block. He does the 5-knuckle shuffle. He does the FU, which has got different names. He's got the STF, and he's got that stupid fucking leg drop. Name me
He's
one
got the
more move.
protoplex.
Oh wow, the
Uh-huh.
protoplex. So he's got 6
He's got
moves.
the basically it's kind of a fisherman's buster that he does. It's kind of a suplex. He hooks the leg, does a suplex.
Wow,
There's
he
other
has
things
7.
he does. He does the top rope leg drop to the guy.
That's what I
his big
said.
move.
The leg drop.
Did you say that? Oh,
That was
he
in the
did say
move.
leg
5
drop.
moves of doom.
Oh yeah. Whatever.
Dude, honestly though,
I'm not taking up for Cena
if you've
saying he's like
seen-
the greatest wrestler.
if you've seen one Cena match, you've seen them all. Like, he does all the same stuff. It's like Bret Hart. No offense, but Bret Hart, if you've seen one Bret Hart match, you've seen them all.
Similar.
Like, that's Cena. And the guy doesn't fucking sell for anybody. When the whole Nexus
Actually,
thing was
he doesn't
going, the original
He's been selling a
Nexus
lot
stuff,
recently.
every fucking one of those guys would do their finisher moves and he'd get right back up. He's terrible. I'm not a guy, I've never liked Cena. I haven't liked him from the freaking beginning. Like, you remember back in the day when, like, I first saw him and he was the robot and he was, you know, the prototype. I couldn't stand him then. So you can't be one of those guys that's like, well, you used to like him when you jumped on. No, I've never liked Cena.
My number 3.
I'm not saying he wouldn't be a cool guy to hang out with. He's a nice guy. He's a just in the ring, like, and that's what we're talking about. He's fucking terrible. He's
But my number 3
drizzling
is
shit.
Prince Devitt. For, you know, I mean,
Because he had the black cock.
because he has that giant black cock for a white guy.
Well,
Guess
he's
it's the South-
technically,
he's from South Africa,
Yeah.
so he's African.
at least his
He's
black cock
African.
is African.
Oh, that's true. Low from the lower half.
He looked like he looked like he had a limousine pulling out of his pants.
It would the spacesuits like with that hanging down. The image we saw, I think it was that Pro Racing Spirit.
Yeah, his
That image just it looks so. I was like, dude, look! It looks like they both have like really weird
well,
jumps.
his because of the fact the way that it
It's-
like hung down between his legs, and then
It was like right there.
there was like a white line that almost looked like the
the
head.
head. It was
So-
the hook thing. The little like
Yeah,
the little
because I thought
fascinating
at
hook.
first it was like a boom mic or a light behind him.
I guess he's number 3 just on that alone. But
He should be number 1 for that reason.
yeah, no, you know,
A white man with
he's
a black
he's
penis?
really-
That's
he's,
like-
he's super impressive. He's a really good wrestler. So, and you know, that was a good match that he was in and stuff like that.
They won the belts.
Yeah, exactly.
Apollo 55.
Apollo, what's 55? What the hell's that?
I have no idea. It's Japan.
Only in Japan.
Yeah, it could have been Apollo like 6, 7. You know,
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh, 6, 7. You're like, you mean 69? No, 6, 7.
Okay, sure.
That's their thing.
All right.
Out
What's
there.
your number 2?
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Okay.
Oh wait, wrong show.
Is it Katie?
Keiji Muto.
Katie. I said KG.
Yes.
That's who my number 2 is.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, that happens again. Yeah, dude. Like, imagine.
I think our number 1's going to be the same then too.
out of the guys that we've seen in that age bracket that are doing matches.
Yeah.
Terry Funk, like
Well, Funk's
Terry Funk, man, even his moonsaults look terrible. I mean, his
Even when-
knees
Yeah.
are so bad, but just him even trying it, it's like Zach Gowen pulled off better moonsaults.
Right.
Hogan doing matches.
Oh, or Flair.
They're the drizzling
recently.
shits, the Flair. You know, for him to be that age and be able to pull off those matches, like, the guy's amazing.
There's only a few guys that can do that at that rate.
But not just that, but imagine if, like, Ultimate Warrior, at his heyday, you know, all of a sudden starts getting a little older, and he's like, or Sting, which he's kind of, but he didn't. Imagine if Sting, like, all of a sudden, and if this fucking happens on TNA, that's stealing my ideas outside the box.
We don't want them to steal our
But
ideas.
imagine if Sting, like, this Thursday, is it still on Thursday? And is the show even on? Let us know. If you turn the show on Thursday, and all of a sudden, Sting comes out, and he retires. He goes to the back, and later on comes out as Steve Borden. And the fans still will be behind him and being like, this is amazing, he's no longer Sting, he took the makeup off, you know, wearing a
He
different
probably would
outfit,
be.
and he's Steve Borden once, only because, but for him to give a match like that, as
The
like
match is
Steve
over.
Borden, you know, because that's basically Muta, you know, Keiji Muto was
Well, Muto's
before,
been around, the
was
idea of
before
Muto.
Muta. But Muta was like his big character.
Yeah, he's wrestled with Muto for a while, though.
Yeah. Well, that's because he, about 2 years. That he-
No, he's wrestled before that.
Well,
He-
yeah, but
He'd pull the Muta stuff out
Only-
every now and then.
only as Muto. He's only been doing it for about 2 years when he retired the
I mean,
Muta character.
pretty much the same reasons. That match was really good. I mean, in a lot of ways, it was the show stealer. You know,
I mean, if Cena could wrestle like that, Jesus Christ, he would be my number one.
every week. But no, I mean, yeah.
Just once. Like, if he honestly, like, you know, he's always, like, complaining that people say he's got the 5 moves of doom and he's, like, terrible. Okay, prove it. One fucking match in your life. Pull
Yeah,
out
just
of the
do one or
WrestleMania.
two.
Do one fucking match.
You gotta wonder-
where it's
you
an
gotta wonder-
amazing fucking match, and I will change my
You
ticket.
gotta wonder how much of there is some WWE pull in there in terms of like only do these.
Just like I
they
realized,
protect them a lot.
I will not buy a Cena sucks shirt because I'm still
You're
supporting
reporting
Cena.
I know. Why would that? Why that? You know, the funny thing is, Cena bitched about it, but the funny thing is, he's getting the people that hate him to buy his own shit.
Yeah, and he's still making money off of it.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, how funny is that?
You know, the Angle sucks stuff back in the day, I would have bought the shirt not because I don't like Angle,
Well, but also,
I like
do you
Angle,
remember
so
the
I'm going
one
to buy
time
an
when he
Angle
did the
sucks
Angle
shirt.
sucks,
But I
though?
don't like Cena, so I'm not going to buy a Cena sucks
but at
shirt.
the one time he did the Cena Angle sucks things, but it was a face. He did that one time. All right, number ones. I'm gonna see it.
You should know my number one.
Tanahashi.
Yes.
Yeah, that's mine.
Fucking Virgo?
Yeah.
Wow, so our 2 and 1.
1 and 2.
Yeah. I mean, the guy, I looked it up, and he's a year younger than I am. He was born in 76.
Okay.
So, for those out there at home,
And now,
he's 35.
so yeah,
Which I was surprised. I mean, he looks 25 when you
he
look
he
at him.
definitely looks a lot younger.
I mean, he looks 10 years younger. I mean, but
they say that like
Asian
they
people,
still say like Japanese women look younger. I guess it works for men too.
Well, it does, because, I mean, Muto could really be 80, and we think he looks 50.
Holy crap!
But
yeah, no, I mean he works.
dude
man.
is-
he works.
No, not just that, but, like, I have not... It's been forever since I've seen somebody that over with the fans.
He's pretty over. He's not 90s New Japan over.
Yeah, but, I mean,
though,
for,
but he's
like,
over.
this decade of wrestling,
Okay, if you won't put it that makes
he's
sense.
probably the most over wrestler that I've seen in the
Yeah.
last decade. I mean, it's just insane. You have women, you have kids, like everybody
Mhm.
that just like to describe it. It's like Hogan back in the day, like the opening for like the Rock and Wrestling,
Yeah.
where like all the kids were like running towards his motorcycle. It's like that. I mean, he could be one of the Beatles in Japan. It's insane.
Oh, he looks like he would be the way his hair and crap
And
is.
he
Looks like he
plays
would.
air guitar.
Exactly. So is he George? Is he George or is he Paul?
He can't be George.
It's gotta be Paul. Paul's like the more famous one.
Well, John would be the most, but.
Yeah.
He's definitely not
that's
George
true.
because, well, we know he's not Ringo. He's definitely not George because George was the most talented but the underrated. And he was really quiet, so like most people
Is
don't
he
even realize
Paul, then?
George. Sure.
He's not John.
Well, yeah, nobody's shot him
He's,
yet.
he's the Paul McCartney of the Japanese wrestling Beatles, apparently. It's a very obscure reference, but we will stick with it. And for that concludes our first episode.
The
of
first
20
issue.
First episode of the
It's a
2012
collector's issue.
version of The Hard Way. And for everyone out there, please comment, send us gifts, email us, do whatever the heck you want. I don't really care. So, see you guys later.
Oh, you didn't time it right.